You're just in time for your weekly most comprehensive look at the world of business and economics. Welcome, this is Business Redefined and I am Julian Samboko. Tonight we are focusing on Kenya Power. 3 profit warnings in a row have sent a clear signal that all is not well at Kenya Power. Kenya's sole electricity distributing company is facing subdued electricity sales, high finance costs and an estimated 24 billion shillings in payment arrears by consumers. The company is clearly between a rock and a hard place. Earlier today I sat down with the Kenya Power's Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer Mr. Bernard Ngugi to unpack the company's financial health. We discussed the company's liabilities and the pursuit for debt restructuring plan, power purchase agreements and the possible revision of the same in light of the prevailing circumstances, and last but not least, how to bridge the company's liquidity challenges. Take a listen. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for hosting us here. It's been about 8 months since we were all called to hurriedly come and see who was taking over the reins at Kenya Power, and just curious to know, how would you describe the last 8 months?
The 8 months have been dealing with issues that do affect KPLC. Number 1 is the blackouts. Number 2 is billing our customers. And number 3 is connectivity. And fourthly, the issues of payments. You know, our business is to sell power. We're not in the business of blackouts. We are in the business of selling power to Kenyans. And there were so many blackouts, which the first thing I decided to do is really to ensure that we close on this and bring them down. Number 1, it involved stopping the frequent outages, whether planned or not. Of course, the unplanned ones, we don't have much power because sometimes systems do fail. But the planned ones, we brought them down. And you would find that at some point, the planned ones were involving very wide areas. And what we decided to do is we stop that and ensure that where there is need to put blackout so that you connect perhaps a customer, we only deal with that area. It can be daily, different places, but we decided that it cannot be done where you switch off everybody from morning to evening just to connect some people. I mean, you'll not be selling and you inconvenience those customers. So what we decided to do is actually to bring blackouts down through that method, as well as working on tree maintenance. Tree maintenance means we clear out the branches of trees that are touching our lines, together with the issue of using lifeline equipments, which we've already invested in. Where there are faults, we repair those faults as customers are enjoying our power, because that's our business, to sell power, not to put people out. Now, number 2, the issue of billing. It requires that we go into giving people correct bills. And there are so many complaints moving from wrong reading or non-reading at all. And so what I'm struggling with, or what I'm dealing with right now, is to tell our people we have to go read the meters. You take out your readings. We have even extended and created an app for self-readers so that they give us correct readings and we bill them. Then connectivity is another issue. We are saying you cannot have customers who are coming on board and you take 6 months or even a month to connect them. What you require is the moment somebody applies for power, by the second day you should have a quotation. And the moment he pays, you should be out there going to do connections.
Talking about billing, we've just woken up to news that Kenya Power has reached out to the regulator to see if there can be an upward revision of the tariffs. Is this the correct position, and what sort of scenario are we looking at going forward?
Well, tariff is a regime of having a tariff reviewed every 3 years. And this one, we've not had tariff for the last, I think, 3 sessions of those 3 times. 3 years period. And so things have been happening in the sense that we have costs going up. I've been having on board more IPPs to generate power. And so we've been having the same tariff since 2018, not increased. And in fact, even when we got it for domestic customers, it was reduced. And the live band was increased from 0 to 100. And that created the revenues we are generating are not adequate to take care of the maintenance, the costs, and also to pay the cost of sales. So that is why we are saying, I think it's a high time perhaps the regulator looks at our tariff application again, see how it can be done. But you can go forward with the tariff which the regulator can give. As you know, it's the regulator who decides whether you'll get a tariff or not, based on the fundamentals in place. Or you look backwards and say, these are the generators. Are we able to go backwards to people like Kengen and IPPs and tell them, let's renegotiate these things?
Let me just stick with something you've mentioned right now, that is regarding the PPAs, and really from a cost containment optic, because we all understand these are very unprecedented times. Has Kenya Power sought to revise some of these contracts?
I think there is very serious need now, not really to look at the business per se of what IPPs will make or Kengen will make vis-a-vis what KPLC can make. What is very important in my view is really to focus on this is an important developer of this country, electricity or power. So it is important to focus on the good thing about it to the customers and the Kenyans, so that everybody looks at, takes a back step and say, wait a minute, I think what is so important now is to give people quality power, affordable power. Rather than you come in as IPPs, you look at what you're going to to make in terms of profit. Likewise for KPLC. I think it's very important that that should be the thing that everybody should be looking at. Otherwise, the way it is, you come, you want to make money in the next 20 years. KPLC is here also wanted to make money, and to make money, you pass the same to the customers. That may not hold for long.
Just before we take the break, I'd like to talk a little bit about the financials of Kenya Power. And of course, for we who follow the capital markets, we are aware that a profit warning has been issued. And this comes against the backdrop of a period in which we saw a drastic decline in the net earnings of the company. How is the environment like, especially in light of the present situation?
Our liquidity situation is not good. We have outstanding debts which we need to pay. We also took quite huge loans, which also have to be paid. And the much we are collecting, which of course now requires us to do certain things, demands quite a lot of us. Actually we require to do something very strategic about this matter. Because when you look at what we pay almost 67 to 70% of what we collect to the power generators. Perhaps we are left with about 30% to run our O&M and other things, and maintain our lines and so on. And that leaves us almost with a negative every month. And that needs to be curtailed very quickly. I know there are things we can do here, and the first thing we've started doing is restructuring ourselves, in the sense that we have created county, we've devolved our functions, and we've created positions called county business manager. A county business manager is now fully empowered to run a county, his own county, like a business, and we are calling it a profit center. That means he has to know his customers. He has to ensure that all customers are metered so that he grows his sales. And he must also manage his costs. By the end of the day, we want profit out of those countries.
And that point by Banangugi takes us to a break. We're discussing the state of Kenya Power, focusing on the financial health. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back with a lot more.
Get up to 95% financing for all brand new vehicles, payable within 60 months. You can access a Biashara Boost credit facility of up to 200,000 shillings, and free membership for Maisha cover for Amref Flying Doctors. Family Bank, with you for life. Do you want to get in touch with Kenya Power? Starting 1st August 2020, the Kenya Power Contact Center will be receiving calls from the number 97771. You can also get in touch with them by dialing *977# on your mobile phone. You will be able to access the following services: prepaid services, postpaid services, report power failure in your area, Jua for sure, who is a Kenya Power employee, and other services. Kenya Power, powering people for better lives.
Did you know that Downy concentrate softens 2.5 more clothes per litre than bleeding fabric softener? It's more concentrate. Use only one third of a cap. When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more. Like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola, taste the simple joys.
Ni aje, mino Jonte Fresh. Mimi ndio nimetambulika hii Gikomba yote sekta ya manguo. You transform nguo ordinary za mtush zenye ziuka mna hii harufu ya bail into the freshest igikoshi yote. Siri ni hii real mpya ya pink. Na kusho mtush zinang'ara kung'ara kushinda kamera. So clean, so fresh. Makastoma unaisana na history. Ninatumia aerial touch of Downy mpya tu. Wale wasi wa kuhustream movies, diehards and gaming fanatic. We've heard now. Your time to fly. Your flag. Do what you love. Mpaka na Telkom. Telkom Night Band that allow you at prices you love. Join our tribe. Usiku just dial *544# your Telkom line. Night Band. The night bundle of your dreams. You are the legend. The night needs.
Lifebuoy, the world's first to report its sanitizer is over 99.9% effective against the COVID-19 coronavirus.
clinically proven relief in 60 seconds.
When we moved from analog to digital, we took the opportunity to share our talent. And the rise of local radio represented our voices, new ICT.
Long time, and I think when I look at the numbers, any company that has a 10 billion shillings operating profit is a solid company. The issue is the debt side, and you alluded to this. I'm just curious to know, is debt restructuring on the table for you?
Yes, it is. We have a commercial debt together with government on-lent loans, and this requires that we put aside quite a substantial amount of money to settle the principal and interest. And we cannot go like that for now, because what the government also has done for us is, because we've gone to see them and asked them to come and assist us, particularly on the government on-lent loans, and requested them to give us a breathing space, which is like a moratorium, where we are able to have a breathing space for us not to repay those loans immediately, say for 1 year. For commercial loans, yes, restructuring is there. We are now talking with about 4 or 5 financiers to help us take those commercial loans and convert them to medium-term loans. I mean, those very heavy taking money loans to medium-term loans with a good moratorium, good interest rates, and also the overdraft that we also incurring. Those two are really what is causing a big trouble for us in terms of liquidity. And I think once we address those two in terms of debt restructuring, I think we'll have some breathing space to deal with those other issues that we have that require we settle obligations that we currently have.
And still staying with the issue of liquidity, one of the challenges I've always observed when I look at the Kenya Power numbers is the issue around short-term financing. And I'm just curious to know, when you look at the way going forward, do you see more headroom for more long-term financing for the company?
Yes, you know, once we deal with this issue of commercial loans, and in fact all loans, we are in talk with the government, particularly the Treasury, National Treasury, through our head of ministry, Minister of Energy, to find a way to deal with these debts that we currently have. Also, we have to really exercise our mandate as employees, and that requires that we go out to collect our revenues. We have a quite substantial amount that is with our customers. Within the county structure, we have revenue collectors. And within a county, what we've done, we've divided a county into sectors. Below the sectors, we've created zones. Zones are manned by, every zone is manned by about 6 or 6 to 7, let me call it that way. 6 or 7 revenue collectors, together with the debt collectors. These are resources we just picked from within. We've moved them from other divisions, and we've taken them there to ensure that they collect our revenues.
And when we talk about the amounts outstanding by way of electricity receivables, I'm just curious to understand how much is out there. And why I ask this question is because there really has to be some measure of impairment provision from the Kenya Power perspective, because definitely some of it, I don't know whether I'm thinking right, but might have to be written off, that these guys will not pay at the end of the day. So how much is out there in terms of the amounts you're looking to collect?
What is in our books is currently standing at about 24 billion, and we can call about 3 or 4 billion may not be good debt. Some of it could be out of perhaps wrong billing. Part of it could be billing people who don't exist. Those errors did happen. And we may also seek government intervention when it comes to what we do, how do we deal with this matter of Kenyans are not able to pay. We really don't want also to inconvenience people like hospitals and water and so on. But we have to move on and make sure that our lines are maintained.
The nature of Kenya Power's cash outlay, of course, is that you have very capital-intensive projects, and perhaps the argument has been peddled out here that that's part of the challenge. Perhaps you should slow down on that avenue and try to optimize what already exists. Is this a view that you share?
Yes, very, very, very true. Between 2016 or thereabout and now, we spent about 196 billion shillings putting up substations and lines, and that is really capital intensive undertaking that we took. We've slowed down. In fact, this financial year we've said we are not going to go that route. Let's first of all optimize what we have, as you said, as you put it. And the problem with this sector or this capital intensive projects that we do, the returns come much later, perhaps in almost 10 or so years, as when perhaps we may get returns from those projects. And most of what has also happened in conjunction with government is more or less social aspect to give wananchi power. But the returns, what we get from those is very minimal. There are customers who would pay 100 shillings, yet we put a line that is costing almost more than 1,000%. And the slowing down is true. We are not going to go that way. In addition to that, we've decided to cut down our spend by quite a big amount of about 5 billion shillings. What we had planned to spend, we brought it down by about 5 billion shillings, so that we should also live by our means, within our means, so to speak, so that we also don't think that we can change these things by again spending.
You have recurrently mentioned government support, strategic intervention. Is there something in the pipeline, a government bailout or something?
The only thing that government can help us, is what I said earlier is there's that moratorium on the online loans. We can also have a concessional loan through the government from the donors to be able to deal with this matter of that commercial loan that we have. Is heavy on us. Not really bailing us, but if they do give us budgetary support, we would be glad, at least to be able to deal with this matter. But what I'm saying is, even if you give me 100 billion right now, just to settle my obligations, without dealing with the issue, the fundamental issues that surround the issue of tariff and demand of power and supply of it, I think we may not get out of the woods. What is so important right now is to deal with the issue of let's balance these things, demand and supply, and then let's get to tariffs that are equitable and are very good to both parties, but more important to ensure that our customers get quality power and affordable power. Once we address that, I think we are good to go.
And talking about COVID, some have argued out here that perhaps there's an indication that Kenya Power is behind the curve as far as revenue diversification is concerned. Because if electricity sales are subdued for understandable reasons, then perhaps you should have been having an alternative business which then ramps up your revenue in one way or another. Just what's the position in terms of, we know there have been plans of diversifying beyond electricity sales. How do we start with this?
We are doing very well with fiber business. I think you are aware of that. We've talked about it for many years. But I think we lost the opportunity to have moved as quickly as possible when we had that time. I would say right now we've decided that despite our situation, we need to invest now because it is a very promising business in terms of returns, good returns. And so we've embarked on injecting money despite our situation. And what we are doing now, we've also partnered with people like Safaricom. I can tell you it's the most reliable fiber optic that Kenyans have. Between here and Mombasa, people enjoy even across the country. I would not fear to say that the telecoms, many of them, use ours, the most reliable one. And I think we've seen that's a very good opportunity to do business with these telecoms and others. And so we are seriously investing whatever we have towards that business.
And to get the tail end of our conversation, what's your outlook? Of course, we understand there are a number of headwinds that Kenya Power is facing, and the environment by itself, given the COVID-19 shock, is quite challenging. If you look at the capital markets, you follow the Kenya Power share price, you know where it sits right now. So what's your outlook like? What can you say to Kenya Power customers and also Kenya Power shareholders?
First and foremost, we have footing in the whole country. We have a foothold in the whole country. In other words, we are the only off-taker at the moment of generated power. And so these things that are happening now are to bring us to where we are. These are things we are addressing right now. In fact, I would say that the government is seriously looking at KPSE. KPSE is not going to fail or to fall. And we are very hopeful and very optimistic that KPSE has to walk and run, so to speak, by ensuring that we do carry our mandate. Our mandate is to sell power. The opportunities are very, very huge. Let me tell you that everybody out there, or anybody, would want this product called electricity. And because everybody wants power, our customer base is huge. And these are opportunities we want to exploit, ensure that we give all customers power, but affordable power, and reliable and adequate power. That's our big win in this matter. And so I would tell our shareholders that yes, we are where we are right now, but we are turning around this business. I'm glad that we now have a new board which has just come in. And from the way things look like, I think we just want to create a business model that is responsive. We need to be very responsive. We need to be very focused, and we need to really be business-minded people. Because for many years, I think KPSC has been run like, or rather, all of us have been thinking like it's like a government. So it's not a government. In a business where you think business, there are sales to make, there are costs to be managed, and by the end of the day, you have to return something for the shareholders. Because we are just 50%. Shareholding by the government. By that, despite that influence from the government, we have a role to ensure that we play our role like a commercial entity, not like a government. And so we are really truly optimistic about changing this business in the near future, and with the support of the government and also our very concerted efforts towards changing this business by ensuring that we sell this power fully. I think our future is very bright. In any case, I want to say that this happened in 2004. I remember when we went down almost to, I think we made about a 2 billion loss or something like that, and we came up again. I would call this is perhaps a cycle of things that do happen, and I think by the end of this financial year, God willing, I'm sure we will be up and running. That's the way I see it myself, and I'm promising to make sure that we do change this business.
Many thanks. We've been speaking to Mr. Bernard Ngugi on Business Redefined tonight, focusing on the financial health of Kenya Power. Up next is the Markets Review.
Markets Review. Brought to you. Business Daily. More possibilities.
Take a look at the market. Take a look at the markets, and the NSE 20 share index closed at 1879.34. That's down 36.46% since the year started, and change day on day is up marginally by 0.3%. Crossing over to the foreign exchange market, the shilling gained marginally against the USD to close at 107.72. Against the sterling pound, there was no change compared to yesterday, and against the euro it closed at 126.33, down marginally by 0.99%.
Proudly brought to you Business Daily. More possibilities.
Right, and that takes us to the close of our discussion on Business Redefined tonight, where we were focusing on the sole electricity distributing company in Kenya, that's Kenya Power. Let's do this again next Tuesday, same place, same time. Stay tuned to NTV.
I help women find independence by training them in stubborn and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra